How did you meet your wife?
How did I meet my wife? I was discharged out of the Navy on a Monday. I walked down the street and looking around, row house where we lived with my parents, and looking at the row houses, everything is still there. Got my little bag on my shoulder.
Your sea bag?
Tried a door knock. Door's locked. Father's working. He was a Baltimore City firefighter. I had a brother. He was in school then, high school, I guess. So I ring the doorbell. The second floor window opens up. My mother's head comes out. She says, "Oh my!" Down went the window. She's running down the steps. She says, "It's a wonder she did not see me for over 26 months. Not had any voice communication, only writing letters. 26 months, I remember that. So here I am. I knew I was going to be getting out, but I couldn't tell her when. This was the Navy process of getting you out of the service. They finally discharged me on a Monday morning. So, of course, there was a crying and a hugging and this and that. And my father was working, but he had, the city did a good thing. They allowed all their uniformed people, if they had relatives like me in the service, for the firefighter or the policeman, to be able to leave his job and go home. Like I say, I've not seen him for 26 months. So that was quite a thing.
So how'd you meet your wife?
Oh, Monday I was discharged. I took the uniform off and I put it on once to take some pictures. Friday night, a good friend of mine, we liked to ice skate. And we would go ice skating at this ice rink. So he had bad eyes. They didn't work, so he was not in the service. So I contacted him. I says, "Are we ice skating?" He says, "Yeah, when you want to go." "All right, we'll make it up. I haven't seen you, come on down." He said, I said, "What do you mean, come on?" He said, "Old people, young people from church, 18, 19, out working in the industry, got a bowling club together at this Baptist church." I wasn't a Baptist, I'm a Catholic. So I said, "Okay, I'll come down." So I went down to the bowling alley. I just stood in the back and watched the teenagers bowl, including my friend, the ice skater. So she was in a group of bowlers, young ladies, young men. So I was introduced around. Shake hands, this, that, and the other. I didn't remember her name. The next Friday, I go down there again. This time they're inviting me to bowl with them. I said, "Okay." So then I got to see this blonde-haired lady, and I could tell it was natural blonde. Had a southern accent. Found out she was born and grew up in North Carolina. The name was Mary Alice. Southern ladies always had two names. Mary Alice. Oh, okay. So the next Friday, I go down there. Now I have purchased an automobile. So I had wheels now. So I drove down with the car. And my friend Norman, who was the ice skater I'm talking about, I says, "I got a car, holds 6 people. Anybody else want to get in there, I'll take you all home." So I didn't know that Mary Alice had a boyfriend in the Baptist church that they dated. So when we get ready to get in the car after the bowling was all over, where did Mary Alice sit? Right in the front of the middle seat. It was a 2-door Pontiac. The passenger side sat right in the middle. I said, "Oh, okay." I don't know how many people I had in there, but Mary Alice was next to me. I found out that she had words with her then boyfriend. So I took her, and she had a younger sister there too. So I took them home. On the way home, I was dropping people off. That was a real good. And Mary Alice had her sister with her, about a year or two younger. Her name was Johnsy. Come up from North Carolina with the family. I said, I like big band music. I said, this orchestra, and it was a named orchestra, big band music, playing at the Hippodrome Theater, one stage in Baltimore. I said, I want to go up and see that big band live. See him on TV? No, didn't have TV then. See him in the movie and on the stage. So I says, I'll tell you what, why don't we, I'm just talking, and driving. Why don't we all go to the Hippodrome Theater tomorrow night, Saturday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and see this big band orchestra. Okay, everybody's saying, okay. The natural blonde next to me, she hadn't said much. So I said to Mary Alice, well, are you going to go? Yeah, I'll go. Okay. That was our date, first date.
She had a boyfriend, though.
Well, they were on the outs at that time.
Oh.
Yeah,
You killed him, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh my, what a life I had.
Had he been in the service, too?
I don't think so. He had some kind of disability. My friend also had, his eyelids wouldn't open up.
Yeah.
And he had to wear glasses. He would have been drafted had it not been for that. But he stayed home. Didn't take any exception to that.
Some of your buddies from home that did serve, what did they do in the war?
Oh, and so I think back, and then after I came home and I'm back to civilian life again, and I said, well, none of these guys, neighbors, friends, up the street, down the street, school, friend, everybody made it back. We had one guy, his father was a letter carrier, and his name was John. John ended up being a letter carrier after the war was over. He was my age. He was in my grade in school. And he suffered some injuries over in Europe. He ended up in the Army. And I think he was discharged due to
Being wounded.
whatever injuries he had.
Was he wounded or injured?
Yeah, he was wounded.
Was he like a rifleman or a guy like a tanker or?
I don't know what his problem was. I think I talked with him maybe 3 or 4 times just in passing with being in the same grade in school.
What was his name?
His name was John. His first name was John Truck. Truck was his last name.
Truck?
Yeah,
From Baltimore?
yeah.
Did he live on your street?
No, he lived about 4 blocks away, but he was in the same grade in school.
Yeah.
I don't remember. One guy was supposed to have his father, one of the guys in my street, about a year or 2 older than me. Somehow or another, they say, I have no proof, that his father, who knew some politician, had it made with the draft board or somebody in the draft board that he would not go overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I can remember, he did not go overseas. I don't know how they worked that out.
What did some of the other guys do in the war? Guys you knew from home?
There was one guy that he ended up, he said, I'm going to fool them all. I'm going to join the Armed Guard. Armed Guard. What does that mean, Armed Guard? That meant that you would be on a non-military ship
Merchant ship.
merchant ship, as a group of 8, maybe 10 people, probably one officer, to man guns that they allowed them to put on.
So he was in the Navy.
No.
He was merchant marine manning the guns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in the.
So he thought he was going to fool everybody and stay safe by doing that, but what happened to him?
He made it back. He made a couple trips across the Atlantic, and our paths never did cross there after that.
And what was his name?
He was working for the steel company there, ended up in the service, came out and went to work for the steel company again, Bethlehem Steel.
What was his name?
His name?
Yeah.
Jerome Zavatny, begin with a Z. His mother, his parents owned this bar. And it was a nice bar, corner bar, you know. And the father died. I never did see the father. The father died before I got to know them. And the mother kind of run things. And then he, as he got older, he got into the helping out in the bar also.
Jerome Zavodny.
Yeah, I think he just worked there all the time.
Did you have any other buddies in the service?
My brother ended up, he's 4.5 years younger than me. He ended up allowing himself to be drafted into the Army.
Allowing himself?
Yeah, he could have joined up
Yeah.
before his certain age.
Mm-hmm.
Once he attended this age, 18 and a half, whatever, 18 and 3 months, he then was locked into the draft. And you then had to work for wherever the government sent you. And my brother didn't want to listen to anything. He ended up in the Army, and my dad liked to swim. As soon as he got old enough to pay his dues at the YMCA, he joined the YMCA. And he was on the YMCA swimming team. So he was a real good swimmer. So I'm the older of the two, my brother and I like the water. I just swim like my dad. But
Yeah.
I never did do any racing or anything like that.
Another thing I'm curious about, during the war, did you wear a wristwatch? When you were in the Navy?
Somebody, I think my uncle gave me a watch.
What did you wear? Do you remember?
It was a Bulova. If they're still making watches, I don't
A
know.
Bulova?
A Bulova.
Bulova.
That was a watch.
Yeah.
This one here, I don't even know. I know it's an expensive watch. I don't know where I purchased it. Nothing's ever happened to it except put batteries in. And I just got a new band.
Whatever happened to your Bulova?
Probably thrown it in the trash after I found out it would cost too much to fix it. And then purchased this one.
Yeah. Wow.
But my brother and I, he was a skinny guy. He was always sick. I'd come home from school, there he'd be laying on a sofa or a daybed, covered up. I said, what's wrong with him? Oh, I had to call the doctor. That's when the doctor came to the house. I had to call the doctor. He's doing this and he's doing that. Oh my, okay. So whenever that happened, I knew what was going to happen to me. I would have to leave the house or don't go to school. I could not go to school if I stayed in the house. He had gotten some disease that's transferable.
Yeah.
So.
But he was okay.
Oh, I never got that.
Yeah, but he was fine. He still went on and served in Korea and...
Yeah.
Is he still around?
No, he died. He was 4.5 years younger. He died about 6 years ago.
So he had a long life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he never really took care of himself. He was skinny. Oh my, he was skinny. And
well, it sounds like he was 90 when he passed away, or a little bit.
Something like that, yeah.
I think he did all right for...
Yeah.
I think
So anyway, he had a pretty good deal. I'm trying to think where was I in the service or was I not at the time? But we lived eight city blocks from a good park with a swimming pool. City park and swimming pool. Go there, pay 10 cents or 15 cents, and swim all day. So, what happened? The city said we won't be able to open any of the city pools because we don't have lifeguards. All the lifeguard age people are in the service. So, here's our plan. We will accept applications from all the people in the police department and the fire department and the trash collectors. Any city employee that is age-wise eligible, we'll let them train them to be a lifeguard. So who was first in line but my father, because he loved the water. I mean, like I say, he swam on the water.
Like a 50-year-old fireman, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
So they give him his life-saving training, and he was happy. And he was at this pool that was 8 blocks away. So I guess I was still in the service. I don't know. And he'd get on my bike. My brother would get on my bike. My mother would fix him a noon meal. He'd pedal up to the swimming pool where my father was. Father would eat his main meal. And he didn't have to worry about going to the firehouse. So it was 2 years my father did that during World War II.
I saw your dad in some old newspapers. He won a medal while he was with the fire department. Somebody had a knife or something like that?
He and another firefighter were standing by the front door of their firehouse in downtown Baltimore about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon when the traffic just starts to build up of people closing up.
And this was in the 30s. I found this on newspapers.com.
So
yeah.
They're standing there. They were not allowed outside the door, but they could go right up to the door when they were on duty. That was a law. Because it would take them too long to get to the fire truck and all that kind of stuff. So he and this other fellow are standing there, and they hear shots. And they knew that they were shots. They didn't count as far as I can remember my father. And they look up the street where the noise is coming from, and here they see this policeman whose job was directing traffic at the intersection right there, that it would come down and eat his meals with my father at the firehouse. Walking backwards, his feet between 2 parked cars hit the curb and he falls down backward, and then they see this man with this knife fall on top of him and stab him right in the heart. And they look at each other. Yeah. So one of those things, do I see what I'm seeing? He just stabbed that policeman. No questions, they ran to the scene. And they had a pretty good struggle from what my father told me to get that knife away from that guy. And to keep, because he started to run. Matter of fact, my father said we just had to run a short distance, but we caught him. And he and they had trials and this and that. His name was in the paper. And so my father was one of 11 firefighters that was awarded a heroism medal. And he carried on his uniform.
Did the policeman survive?
No.
No.
No, he was dead.
Oh, that's a shame.
And things have a habit of repeating. I apprehended a boy, 15 years old, I was 35. He had on sneakers. I had on loafers. He was 15. He and another kid robbed one of the neighbor boys of the little radios they used to carry then.
Like a Walkman or
Walkie-talkie radio.
Walkman.
And who saw him rob him but my father at the next corner. So I was doing some church work or something. I got out of this fellow's car. He dropped me off. I says, drop me off right here. As my boys and my other boys, they're gonna play a game of wiffle ball or something. So I got out of the car in the middle of the street. And I started to walk up, and at the other end of the street, there comes my father jogging. Now, my father had just had some operations or something. He was off duty. I said to myself, what's he doing running? So I stop and I'm watching. He's jogging kind of toward me. And out of an alley to my left, here comes a fellow walking out. Didn't notice he carrying a radio or anything. But my father says, get him. Points to me to get that guy to come out of that alley with a radio. You do what your father tells you, right? What does he want me to get him for? So I take up the chase. Now, I'm chasing this, I found out later, 15-year-old with sneakers, and I got loafers on. I can run right out of my loafers, but I didn't for some reason. And that's quite a chase. We ran around cars, and he starts back up an alley. Well, alley's an alley, so I am not gaining, but I'm not losing the distance between the two of us. We get to the end of this alley, it dead ends kind of, and it makes a turn. That is what saved it. He had to slow down to make the turn. I saw him slow down, and I was within hand touch with him almost all the time that I was behind. So I captured a robber. I had to go to court about that.
What did your dad think of the Prohibition?
Did he think of what?
The Prohibition.
We had a bar at the corner we could walk to, and they were closed, of course. He had an uncle that was brewing his own beer. And I think he'd stop by there every so often and drink a bottle of beer. But it didn't affect him. He liked to drink a bottle of beer. I never saw him drink any hard liquor of any kind. Never saw any wine. But he did like a bottle of beer once in a while. Yeah, well, my father was a smaller man, much smaller than me. I think he was about 5'6". But he was, he had a good build. He was strong. We were both, at one time, we were both in the Baltimore City Fire Department. I joined the fire department because I said I wanted to work on our fire boats. And they said, you can't work on the fire boats until you're in the fire department. I said, well, how do I get in the fire department? Well, you got to take a written test. You pass that, then you got to go through 2 physicals. You pass that, then they make you a list of how you stood when you took your written test. And they take people into the fire department down this list. I said, well, what have I got to do? So I made the list and passed the test. So now I'm a firefighter too. Then I found out after a couple of months, I couldn't get into the fire boats. They wouldn't take me because they said that they wouldn't recognize any of my naval service working on machinery. I said, well, I don't want to be a firefighter. So that's when I went.
To the railroad.
Went to the railroad, yeah.
Huh.
And I saw that there was potential there that I could possibly be promoted because I could run a lathe mill machine. I could run any machine in the machine shop. Use micrometers.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think I'll stop the video for